You're sitting across from them. Same couch. Same room you've sat in 100 times before. But tonight something's off, and you can't name it. They just told you about their day. A little offhand, a little rushed, like they're testing the water before they dive in. And you just nodded, said cool, kept scrolling, kept your face still, kept your voice light. Inside, though, something in you was screaming to lean in, to ask one more question, to let them see that you actually cared. But you didn't, because somewhere along the way, you learned that caring too much gets you hurt. Why does this feel so hard? Why do I have to perform like I don't care just to feel safe? Is this what not being needy is supposed to feel like? Am I protecting myself, or am I just disappearing? Wait, here's the part almost nobody says out loud. Playing it cool doesn't protect your relationship. It slowly convinces the person you love that you were never fully in it to begin with. You're not doing this because you don't care. You're doing this because somewhere, at some point, showing you cared cost you something. And your nervous system remembers. You're not cold. You're not emotionally unavailable. You're not incapable of love. Every person who's ever built a wall to protect their heart was once a person whose heart got hurt for showing it. This isn't a character flaw. It's a survival strategy that outlived its usefulness. By the end of this video, you're going to see exactly where you do this, why you can't feel yourself doing it in the moment, and what it's quietly costing you with the person you actually want to keep. Let's get into it. Most people believe playing it cool is a strategy, something you choose, on purpose, to stay desirable, to avoid looking desperate, to keep the upper hand. But the real truth is that playing it cool is rarely a choice at all. It's a nervous system decision, made in a fraction of a second, long before your conscious mind even gets a vote. Your partner's body is reading you before their mind can catch up. When you go flat, when you go quiet, when you shrug instead of reaching, their nervous system doesn't hear "I'm being chill." It hears "something's missing here." Detachment doesn't read as confidence to the person on the other end of it. It reads as absence, and here's what almost nobody explains. When safety leaves a relationship, the desire to be honest doesn't disappear. It goes underground. You still want to say, "I missed you." You still want to say, "That scared me." But somewhere along the way, you learned that wanting things out loud makes you easier to hurt. So instead of asking for closeness, you perform indifference. And the person you love slowly starts believing the performance. This is the anxious avoidant loop hiding in plain sight. One partner reaches, gets met with distance, and reaches harder. The other partner feels the reaching as pressure and pulls back further to breathe. Neither one is wrong, neither one is broken. They're both just protecting themselves from the exact same fear, using the exact opposite tools. And once you see this pattern, you'll start noticing it everywhere in your relationship. Here's where it shows up first. Here's the part no one talks about. The first place is what we can call the disappearing text. Most couples think a slow reply, a short reply, a haha yeah instead of a real answer, is just being busy, just being casual, no big deal. But here's what nobody explains. That short reply isn't nothing. It's a tiny withdrawal, and your partner's brain logs every single one of them, even when they say it doesn't bother them. Picture this. She texts him something vulnerable, something like, "I had a rough day. I kept thinking about you." Two versions of what happens next. Version 1. He reads it standing in the kitchen, phone in one hand, replies, "Same TBH," and goes back to what he was doing. Flat, fast, safe. Version 2. He stops what he's doing, reads it twice, types, deletes, types again, sends back, "I'm sorry today was hard. I've been thinking about you too. Tell me about it when I see you." Small thing, costs him nothing, changes everything. In version 1, something in her quietly registers, "Okay, so that's not a place I can go." In version 2, something in her settles and thinks, "He actually met me there." And when you let yourself be met like that, even in something as small as a text message, the walls between you start to come down, without either of you having to say a word. That's the first place. But it doesn't stop at texting. It follows you into the room. This is where it gets really interesting. The second place is the body in the room. Most people think playing it cool is only about words. What you say, what you don't say. But your body has been playing it cool this entire time, and you probably never noticed. Here's what changes everything once you see it. Turned shoulders, arms crossed loose but closed. sitting one extra cushion away than you used to. None of it is dramatic, none of it screams, "I'm upset," but your partner's body reads it instantly, the same way you'd feel a temperature drop in a room without needing a thermometer to tell you. Picture the two versions. He walks in from work. She's on the couch. Version 1, he sits at the far end, phone out, says, "Hey," without looking up, body angled toward the TV instead of toward her. Version 2, he walks in, sits close enough that their knees touch, and just for a second, rests a hand on her leg before he even says anything. Neither one of them says a single extra word in that scene, but her whole body already knows which version she just lived. Something in her is quietly asking, in version 1, does he even want to be here? And in version 2, without a single sentence spoken, something in her settles into, he's still choosing me. That's when your partner stops feeling like a roommate you're managing logistics with, and starts feeling like a person you're actually still choosing, every day, in 100 tiny physical ways. And once your body stops playing it cool, your words start to catch up. Here's where that shows up. Next, here's the part almost nobody figures out. The third place is the compliment you swallow. Most people believe holding back a compliment keeps them safe. If I don't say, "You looked really beautiful today," then I don't have to feel exposed if they don't say it back. If I don't say, "I'm proud of you," I don't have to sit in that awkward, vulnerable silence after. But here's the deeper truth. Every swallowed compliment is a tiny, silent withdrawal from the emotional account your relationship runs on. And over months, over years, that account runs dry. Not because either of you stopped loving the other, but because you both stopped saying it out loud. Not a bigger gesture, not a grand romantic speech, not waiting for the perfect moment to say something meaningful. Just the plain, unfiltered thought, said the second you have it. Picture it. She gets ready for a night out, comes downstairs. Version 1, he glances up, says, "Ready?" and grabs his keys. Version 2, he actually stops, looks at her and says, "You look incredible. I'm lucky I get to walk in somewhere with you tonight." Version 1 costs him nothing and gives her nothing. Version 2 costs him 3 seconds and changes the entire emotional temperature of the night. In version 2, something in her quietly thinks, "He still sees me." And that's the moment a relationship stops feeling like two people coexisting and starts feeling like two people who chose each other again today. But even saying the kind thing out loud isn't the whole picture. The next place cool hides is even harder to catch, and this is the one most couples never figure out. The fourth place is the fake, "I'm fine." Most people think saying, "I'm fine," when you're clearly not fine, is protecting the relationship from unnecessary conflict. Keeping the peace, not making a big deal out of something small. But here's what nobody explains. Your partner almost always knows you're not fine. So when you say you are, you're not avoiding conflict, you're teaching them that you're not a safe place for the truth either. Not silence disguised as strength, not a tight smile that says, "Drop it," not "I said I'm fine" through clenched teeth, but two people who can sit in an uncomfortable, honest sentence together without either of them needing to fix it immediately. Picture the moment. He comes home distracted. She asks, "Hey, everything okay?" Version 1, he says, "Yeah, fine, just tired," while staring at his phone, jaw a little tight. Version 2, he puts the phone down, looks at her, and says, "Honestly, no, work was rough. I'm not trying to be distant. I just need a minute to land." In version 1, something in her thinks, "He's shutting me out again." In version 2, something in her softens into, "Okay, he's not pulling away from me. He's just having a hard day, and he let me in on it." That one sentence, that one moment of honesty instead of performance, is the difference between your partner feeling shut out of your life and feeling trusted inside of it. And once honesty replaces performance in the small moments, it changes how conflict itself goes. Here's where that shows up. Read that again if you need to, because the fifth place is bigger than it looks. The fifth place is how you fight. Most couples think cool during conflict means calm during conflict. Staying quiet, not raising your voice, letting them talk while your face gives away nothing. But here's the deeper truth. Silence in conflict isn't always calm. Sometimes it's a nervous system that's so overwhelmed, it's using stillness as the only protection it has left. And to the partner on the other side, that stillness doesn't feel like peace. It feels like being shut out of a locked room. Your nervous system in conflict works a lot like a smoke detector. It genuinely cannot tell the difference between your partner raising their voice out of hurt and actual danger. So it sounds the exact same alarm either way, and you either go cold to survive it or you go loud to survive it. Neither one is really about the dishes, or the money, or being late again. Picture two people, same argument, same trigger. Version 1, she raises her voice about him being late again, and he goes completely flat, arms crossed, eyes somewhere on the wall, waiting for it to be over. Version 2, she raises her voice about the same thing, and he says, I hear you, I'm not going anywhere, can we slow down for a second? In version 1, something in her spirals into, he doesn't even care enough to fight for this. In version 2, something in her exhales into, okay, we're still on the same team. This isn't a communication hack, it's what it looks like when someone has learned to stay present instead of disappearing the moment things get hard. And once you can stay present in conflict, the next place cool tries to hide is somewhere much quieter. Think about that, because the sixth place almost never gets talked about. The sixth place is asking for help. Most people think needing your partner's help, admitting you're struggling, saying, I can't do this alone right now, makes you weak in their eyes. So instead, you white-knuckle it. You handle it fine. You play it cool right through your own exhaustion. But here's what changes everything once you see it. Your partner doesn't fall in love with your competence. They fall in love with the version of you that lets them matter. Every time you handle everything alone, you're not protecting them from burden. You're quietly telling them there's no room for them in your life. Not pretending you've got it handled. Not smiling through something that's actually crushing you. Not, don't worry about me, I'm good. But two people who have learned that needing each other isn't weakness, it's the entire point of choosing to build a life together. Picture it. He's overwhelmed at work, drowning quietly. Version 1, she asks if he's okay, and he says, yeah, just a lot going on, I'll figure it out. And goes back to his laptop, jaw tight, alone in the room even though she's right there. Version 2, he says, honestly, I'm struggling. Can you just sit with me for a bit? I don't need you to fix it. I just don't want to be alone in it. Something in her, in version 2, quietly thinks, he let me matter. That's it, that's the whole shift. And once you let someone matter to you out loud, the final place cool shows up is the quietest, and the most costly. This is the part that ties everything together. The seventh place is the moment right before you say, I love you, or I miss you, or I need you, and you talk yourself out of it too. Most people think holding that sentence back keeps them in control, keeps them from being the one who cared more, keeps the scoreboard even. But here's the deeper truth nobody explains. There is no scoreboard, there never was. The only thing that swallowed sentence does is teach the person you love to stop expecting honesty from you, one silence at a time, not louder declarations, not bigger gestures, not waiting for anniversaries or perfect timing to finally say the real thing. Just the plain sentence, said the moment it's true, even when it's scary, even when it feels like too much. Picture the very last scene. Same couch you started on, same lighting, same quiet room, but this time, instead of nodding and scrolling, you put the phone down. You look at them, and you say the sentence you've been swallowing for months. I've been scared to let you see how much I actually care about this. I don't want to do that anymore. Something in them, in that moment, quietly thinks, there you are. Not because the words were perfect, because they were finally real. That's when your relationship stops feeling like two people managing distance and starts feeling like two people who finally stopped performing safety and started actually building it. You're back on that same couch now, same room, same silence you started this video with. Except this time, the silence isn't distance. It's two people choosing to sit in something honest together, on purpose. This isn't a checklist of 7 things to try this week. It's an invitation to stop protecting yourself from the person you already chose. When you stop performing indifference and start letting yourself be seen, you're not becoming needy. You're becoming someone your partner can finally fully trust. The relationship you want doesn't start the moment they change. It starts the moment you stop playing it cool long enough to let them see you. If you want to know exactly what to say the next time you catch yourself swallowing that sentence, that's the video I made right after this one. You didn't lose the closeness you're missing. You just started hiding it. And the good news is, hiding is a habit, which means it can be unlearned, one honest moment at a time.